Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I'm here with my Scraplift Crafternoon for this Sunday, and I've decided to use my Kit again for the November 2022. And we are scrap lifting Victoria Marie scrapbooking, and this super cute layout that has some layering and 4 different pictures. And so I have this picture of a monument in Lafayette Park, as well as 2 haunted area houses, kind of, and a creepy light in Washington, D.C. And I am going to use these 2 papers. This one made me think a lot of the paper she has in this middle section, and then I decided I wanted to use these leafy paper. Both of these are from the Fernwood collection by Vicki Boutin. And I'm going to use these 2 branding strips as my little side strips that she's got that pretty yellow paper right there. I'm going to use the camera branding strips. And then I pulled out some white cardstock to be my mat. And then I have this cute little wooden frame. I believe that my friend Tara sent me this. And I'm going to use that because she has a frame on her layout. And then I have pulled all of these from the Fernwood collection. I actually had to pull from my backup stash because I was running out of some things. And then I also have this Recollections Halloween that says Boo on it with the ghost because it was a haunted tour that we were on. And it's just black and white. That orange is just the background, so there's no orange coming in. And so I feel like I'm going to use that to go across the frame as my title. And so hopefully I'm going to bring in some ink probably. And in the beginning, I wasn't sure what else I might bring in other than what I already have out on my desk. But I've got my papers and my embellishments, these pictures, and this really cool layout. So let's see how this goes. So first things first, I have to figure out how wide I want my paper. And I had decided that I wanted it to be about 9 inches. So I went ahead and cut it down with my Creative Memories trimmer. And I decided also that I wanted that bigger splotchy section that's down there in the bottom right now. And I'm going to turn that around because I knew the bottom right was going to get covered. And I wanted that extra added look of mixed media. Now, with these branding strips, I'm putting these down, and on her, she has it on the side, but because my paper is darker, I knew that those cameras would just disappear into that background paper, so I actually move it over just a little to where there's one little grid line going down to the side so that it has a break between that branding strip and that leaf or vine paper. And I was originally thought I might change up the background paper and then decided that I would just move this over a little. Still has the same concept, but it gives that little break. And then I mat my pictures all on solid white cardstock. All of them are matted on just one piece of 8.5 by 11. And I had a little bit left over to use for my rub-on, this Recollections border rub-on that says Boo. I cut 2 of the Boos off and 1 of the ghosts. I considered using the ghost in one of the little clusters, but I really didn't lean heavy on the Halloween theme or on the spooky theme. I just brought in this Boo, and I want to put that down on this cute little wood veneer frame, but I don't like the wood texture or the color on here, so I decided I'm gonna ink it up. And I thought I grabbed my black. I didn't, but when I put some of it out on my little piece of plastic I've got right there, it looked pretty dark, and then as I started inking, it looks more blue, and I'm actually really okay with that. I love that there's a lot of blue that's coming in that middle picture that I'm going to put down, as well as the bigger picture. So the blue works really well because we were out at night in the dark on the DC Ghost Tours. So I made sure to paint the entire front of the frame as well as the inside and the outside. That way the wood grain color was not going to come through. So this is pretty much how I want to lay it out. I went ahead and tapped the extra ink that I had onto my page so it would give it a little bit more of a mixed media look, not just that part that's up there in the top left corner that is already on the paper. And so I tapped that out in places that I knew might be open, so that it would show. And then I'm gonna, just like she did, I'm gonna pop up this main picture on Fun Foam. And so like I was saying before, these are pictures from the DC Ghost Tours, and you start your tour right here in Lafayette Park, and the gentleman was discussing, to your back is the White House, and he was discussing all the different ghost stories of former presidents, presidents' wives, people who worked in the White House and things of that nature. And then you take a trip, walking trip around the White House to different locations. And he talked about some other different people who had passed away and their stories, and any of the accounts that people have had interacting with them in the afterlife. It was pretty cool. It was really like a history lesson, but it was really neat. And I have one more layout to do for this because there were quite a few places that we stopped and a lot of stories, and I didn't want to try and overload them on one page. So I do have 2 pages for that. So now that I'm done with my frame and I did the rub on and fussy cut loosely around it, I wanted it to have that full white border. And so I went ahead and did a little loose cut around. I'm using some Fun Foam cut into pieces to keep the middle section like the ghost, and that big O in the second boo. I put a piece of foam behind there, and then I'm going to pull a couple other pieces of foam and put them behind the first B and O so that they don't dip down. And so I really do love the way that that turned out. It's so cute. And because that background is not black, that frame stands out a little bit more since the lettering is black. So I felt like that would be even better. And then I just cut the bottom part of this little bouquet and tuck this in. Mine is not going to be coming out at the top like hers, but I do add another flower here in a few minutes that's going to go in there to cover up a little gap underneath that letter, as well as I'm going to cut that bigger floral that's just a flower up there at the top on my little plastic piece there, or the acetate. I'm going to cut that in half and tuck that in here in just a few moments. And then, of course, I want to put one of these little leafy vines on each of the 3 clusters. So my clusters aren't as colorful as hers. They almost kind of blend in a little bit. I'm perfectly fine with that. The main point of this is the pictures, and I didn't really want to take away from any of that. So I am perfectly fine with them not being bright or standing out terribly. So I am now working on the little cluster in the bottom right corner, and then I pretty much put mine where hers are, except like I said, mine are a little smaller. They're not as colorful. And then I take that flower, like I said before, and cut it in half. Put half of it coming out from behind the picture and half of it from coming out behind the frame. And I thought that that would add a little something of those florals up there in the top, but not be too in your face or anything. So, and then I'm just going to finish using up everything. I used everything that I pulled out. This says Stay Curious, and I thought that was pretty fitting. And then I add a couple more. This one says Going on Adventures, which we definitely did. And then I have another one on here that says Taking the Unexpected Path. And then I added the word Sometimes after that because, you know, obviously it was unexpected to us because we had no clue where we were going. But we definitely, on this day, took a lot of unexpected paths because we were just kind of wandering, not aimlessly, but kind of. And then I take the little tag and I'm going to put it down here on the bottom because everywhere else doesn't seem to work for me. And I want to separate that limey leafy green that the word Sometimes is in. So I put that little tag at the bottom and I wrote the date So now I have the little leaves and then that word sometimes, as well as that little date tag. So here is Victoria's layout again. It is a pretty simplistic in the aspect of, you know, you can do a very simple layout with this, or you can spend an hour and ink things and, you know, do all the different things, and it takes you more time and it's more intricate. But whatever you want to do with this layout, it is very flexible, and I love that. Her layout is so cute, and it has some really great pictures of her daughter on it. So please check out her video, which is going to be linked below. The playlist will be below, so any of the ladies who hop along with Scraplift Crafternoon will be in the playlist. So I hope you will go check them out, because I love how we all have the same lift and it always looks so different. I hope you all have a fantastic day and happy scrapping.